If you're looking for a high-end prospect to stash, or you just like getting ahead of the game and picking up rookies before they break out, you're going to be happy this week. I have several players to talk about. Some are making their debuts this very week in MLB, so let's get to it. Let's beat the breakout. Now, before I get to the rookies who are getting the call and maybe have already made their debut, I have to start out with the number one pitching prospect, and that's Paul Skeens. No, we haven't heard anything new. Still don't know when he's going to join the Pittsburgh rotation. It can't be too far off, but then again, it could be because of the whole service time thing. Look, if Skeens is still available in your league, you can't wait. There were already people who were stashing him before the season started, but with the news of Jackson Holliday getting called up, the number one hitting prospect in baseball, and White Langford, Jackson Churio already on big league rosters on opening day, people are just not waiting. Skeens is already over half owned across Yahoo leagues. So like I said, if he's still available in your league and you actually want a chance to try to get him, you're going to have to do it now. Look, Skeens is not doing anything to stem the excitement here for his debut. He's got a 57.6% strikeout rate so far in the minors. That's not a mistake. 57% strikeout rate at AAA. Now, full disclosure, that's over only 9 1/3 innings. So, okay, that's a little skewed, but still, throwing over 100 regularly, just dominating hitters, it's not going to be long before he's dominating major leaguers. But as always, I have to give a word of warning too. It's really weird that he's only thrown about 9 innings in 3 starts, averaging 3 innings per outing. This seems like a concerted attempt to preserve him and not have what has happened to so many major league pitchers already happen, young pitchers who are blowing out their elbows early, especially the hardest throwers. But you got to wonder, is this what's going to happen at the major league level? And then why would they call him up to only go 3 innings? So he's definitely going to be on some sort of innings restriction. And then how much is that really going to hurt his fantasy value? So I will just say this. If Skeens is still out there and you have space, definitely add him. But I'm going to use him more as a trade chip than anything else. But the pitcher right now that I'm most excited about, I should say pitching prospect because he's about to make his debut but hasn't yet, is a guy I had in my top 12 preseason rookie rankings. That's Jack Leiter of the Texas Rangers. It's like people forgot how dominant he was at Vanderbilt. Remember in college, just like every time he was out there, this guy was making highlights. He was just overpowering batters, and that's why he was the number 2 pick in the draft. And then we got into the Rangers farm system, just had a rough time at AA. Not just his first season, but then again last season, ERA well over 5. Just looked like maybe he wasn't the same pitcher. But then what happened is not even so much that his stats are better this year, but late last year we started to hear rumblings where he was in the developmental league and he tweaked his mechanics, but also worked on his confidence. Everything clicked, and it's showing so far this season. His first 14 innings at the AAA level, not just respectable ratios, but 25 strikeouts compared to only 3 walks. That is dominance, and that is the pitcher that we remember. And that's why the Rangers have called him up, because Cody Bradford, after that blazing hot start on the IL, terrible timing for him and for them, but gives Leiter his shot. I'm not going to wait around. I'm going to scoop him up. Let's see how he handles his first start. Again, no matter how good a rookie is, no matter how talented a prospect, nerves get in the way, right? There's always that growth, that acclimation period. I'm not going to rush out to put him in a starting lineup, but I definitely want to hold on to him and see what happens. Now, we did just have a pitcher make his debut a couple of days ago, but didn't get nearly as much publicity because instead of the Rangers, last year's defending champions, we're going to have to go down to the White Sox to talk about Nick Nastrini. I mean, we're looking for some sort of good news here in Chi-Town, right? Nastrini is one of the prospects that came over from the Dodgers farm system in the Lance Lynn deal. He was flat out dominant at AA, had a 21% swinging strike rate, really high strikeout rate as well. And then that did drop when he got to the AAA level, but still striking out batters at a 35% clip. Nastrini posted a 21% swinging strike rate at AA. That's really good. And then when he got up to the AAA level, that did drop, of course, but still managed to get a 29% strikeout rate. Now this year, before getting the call, up to a 35% strikeout rate. Unfortunately, that came along with some pretty big ratios, a 7.71 ERA and 2.14 whip. But again, we're talking about a couple of weeks, only 7 innings total. So didn't have the greatest outing, but still, he has swinging and missed stuff. the White Sox definitely need him. They need everything. And he acquitted himself fairly well in his big league debut. 5 innings pitched, only gave up 2 earned runs and 3 hits. Only walked 2 batters and did strike out 5. We know wins are going to be hard to come by here for the White Sox, but at the very least, with a young pitcher that you know is going to have these ups and downs, at least he's got that swing and miss stuff. We're looking for K upside. He definitely has it. So I'm probably only chasing him in a deeper league as of right now, or a keeper league, but Nastrini is somebody who is going to present a lot of upside. If you love watching baseball and playing fantasy baseball, you probably love playing MLB The Show on PlayStation, Xbox, or Switch. Well, the best place to get those stubs without paying full price is MMOAH.com. On top of their already discounted price, you get an extra 5% off by using code Endgame. You can build your perfect Diamond Dynasty even faster by clicking the link in the description below and using our promo code. As far as hitters go, the debut we're most looking forward to is just about to happen. Andy Pages of the Dodgers getting the call because they're in need of some help. Yeah, believe it or not, that lineup is struggling at the bottom end. Nothing wrong with those first 3 guys, but the rest of their outfield has been mix and match, and everybody seems to be struggling. Well, first of all, Jason Hayward is on the IL. It doesn't seem like he's ready to come back anytime real soon. And then the other guys who've been playing there, James Outman, pretty much an everyday player there. Against some lefties he'll sit, but he's not getting it done for the most part. And then got Chris Taylor, their utility guy. He's having to fill in. He's off to the worst possible start, hitting .030. Meanwhile, Pages, who did miss a lot of last year with injury, has been doing nothing but rake. This is a guy who could have been ready last year to get the call if not for that injury. At AAA, he was hitting .371 with 5 home runs in just 15 games. And this is a continuation of the spring where in the Cactus League, he was already doing well. He went 8 for 17 with 2 home runs. Pages is a slugger. He's got some of the best raw power in the Dodgers organization, and he's going to get his chance. If he hits, he could easily stick. Let's not get carried away and say that this could be the next Yordan Alvarez. He doesn't have that kind of hit tool. Again, you're looking for the power here, but with so much potential for runners on base in front of him, being in that Dodgers lineup, even if he hits 9th, it's still okay. He'll still have RBI ops and home run upside. But what if you're looking for speed? All right, well, the Mariners just called up a little bit of a lower-end prospect, Jonathan Clase. With Dominic Canzoni on the IL, they need help in the outfield. They need some sort of a spark there. That offense has been really sluggish. Maybe Clase can provide something. At AAA this year so far, he was hitting .311 with 2 home runs and 3 steals. Now, I mentioned speed. How about a guy who stole 79 bases last year in the minors? Now, you wouldn't be blamed if the first thing that came to mind here was Victor Scott. We heard all these same things here before the season about Scott, right? Guy who can hit, and he has some of the best speed out there. He can be that kind of table setter, even if he's hitting at the bottom of the lineup. And what has happened with Victor Scott? He cannot make contact with the ball. As I always say, you can't steal a base if you don't get on base first. We'll see with Clase. Again, I don't want to just assume he's going to be a source of cheap steals, get you 20, 30 bags, because he's going to actually have to hit the ball and get on base. Well, in his debut, he went 1 for 4 with a single. He got a chance to start. He's going to get that playing time. So at this point, let's see if he manages to hit major league pitching. You don't have to rush out to make a bid on him because nobody's really on this guy too much unless they're living in Seattle right now. Those rookies have all gotten the call, but who could be next? Well, the most obvious choice is in Houston with Joey Loperfido. Obvious because he's leading the minors right now with 10 home runs. He's got 24 RBIs to go along with a .333 average in his first 57 at-bats. He's basically crushing the ball on a daily basis for the Sugarland Space Cowboys, which I think we can all agree is the most awesome name in minor league baseball. Now with Loperfido, the only thing is there isn't an obvious roster spot for him. There isn't an injury as of right now that needs to get filled, not someone who's on the verge of being sent down. Although it would make sense if Gray Kessinger, who's kind of filling a utility role that they don't need because Mauricio Dubon is kind of that utility guy there. I think that would make sense. He is off to a kind of non-existent start. He's barely played, but he's 0 for his first 9. So why not send Kessinger down and let Loperfido go ahead and hit? He could be a DH there. I mean, the guy has nothing left to prove at the minor league level. If If you're in a deeper league or you have an extra NA spot, this is a stash to make now. Again, it's hard to tell when or if he will get the call, but it just seems like a matter of time. The same can be said for James Wood in the Nationals organization. You might remember he was on fire in spring training. Didn't make the opening day roster, mainly because of age. And by that I mean too young. Maybe he needs a little more experience. Okay, fine. But also the Nats, for reasons still unexplained, decided to go with age and experience in their outfield. You got Jesse Winker, Eddie Rosario out there, and Joey Gallo DHing. But how much longer can they really roll Eddie Rosario and his sub-200 average out there and subpar defense in center field? Wood is ready to take that center field job, and he's proving that he deserves it. He's hitting .340 in his first 50 at-bats at the AAA level, 2 home runs, and 5 steals. And what I like the most about his early profile right now, he's got more walks than strikeouts, 12 walks to 11 Ks. Now you also know about Dylan Cruz, high draft pick, also future star player, but it's worth noting that Cruz right now is at the AA level while Wood was sent to AAA. Feels like Wood is kind of the next guy up, and it's an imminent move as soon as they feel like he's ready or that they're ready to let him start accumulating service time. I've had Wood stashed in a couple leagues since draft day. I think if you want any part of him, you're going to have to do it now because when he gets the call, he's going to stick. And then it's like, which Orioles prospect do we talk about next? Who could possibly get called up? And look, this is actually becoming a legit question because if Jackson Holliday continues to struggle at the plate, he could get sent back down, and maybe the Orioles look smart for not making him their opening day second baseman. Well, I'm not sure who could be next up, but the guy who deserves it and maybe is worth your roster spot is Heston Kjerstad. He also had a really solid spring, but he was just overshadowed by Colton Cowser. To say he's been solid at AAA so far is an understatement, hitting .333 with 7 home runs and 27 RBIs. He's also scored 18 runs in 16 games. I know that whole Norfolk team at AAA is looking like the Harlem Globetrotters these days, just running circles around their opponents. Kjerstad is a guy who got a cup of coffee last year with the O's, had a shot this year. Again, the path is there, it's imminent. Just needs somebody to either hit the shelf, not that we're hoping for that, or something to happen here, somebody gets sent down, and then Kjerstad could become an everyday player. He could DH very easily in that lineup. Given the uncertainty of that whole roster right now, I would just say only an emergency stash because we're waiting on something to happen. Don't know how long he'll be languishing and raking at the AAA level, but he could be a very high-end second half asset this season. So again, if you're looking ahead and you want to get him while you can, this might be the time. You always want to stay one step ahead of your league mates, and that's why you keep it locked here at Fantasy Endgame. Always going to have winning advice for you. Like, subscribe if you haven't already, and check out our latest videos.